again to Bioholic Friday class with me, Olivia. I hope you are doing well and thanks for your mesmerizing responses in my previous video. Most of you got a healthy score in the previous self-assessment tests, so similarly be attentive to this class also and get a better marks in today's assessment test. Today, I will describe the different tropic hormones that are secreted from anterior pituitary, and also I will discuss about melanocyte stimulating hormone and also its important functions. If you have watched all my previous videos, then I think you are definitely very much familiar with the term tropic hormones. Yes, tropic hormones are hormones that have other endocrine glands as their target. Most tropic hormones are produced and secreted by the anterior pituitary. The four strictly tropic hormones are thyroid stimulating hormone, ACTH, that is adrenocorticotropic hormone, follicular stimulating hormone, and luteinizing hormone. The follicular stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone, sometimes together called as gonadotropic hormones, as they target our gonads for their secretion. Specific tropic hormones target their specific endocrine glands to stimulate their secretory activity, like TSH targets thyroid gland, ACTH stimulates adrenal cortex for their secretion, and LH and FSH both targets male and female reproductive organs. So first of all, what are the characteristics of thyroid stimulating hormone? Yes, it is a glycoprotein with two subunits, that is the alpha and beta. The source of thyroid stimulating hormones are the thyrotropes of anterior pituitary. I have already discussed the different type of cells that are present in anterior pituitary in my previous video on the pituitary gland and hypothalamus. Go and watch if you have not watched yet. Okay, so let's move on. The functions of thyroid stimulating hormones are to stimulate the thyroid gland to produce T3, that is triiodothyronine, and T4, that is thyroxine, which stimulate the metabolism of almost every tissue in the body. And TSH concentration are measured as a part of a thyroid function test in patients suspected of having an excess or deficiency of thyroid hormones. So, the level of thyroid stimulating hormone is used for the identification of different thyroid disorders along with their exact source of pathology determination. In pituitary adenoma or thyroid hormone resistance, both TSH and thyroid hormone level are high. On the other hand, in secondary hypothyroidism or the central hypothyroidism, the TSH level and thyroid hormone level both are low. If both thyroid stimulating hormone and thyroid hormone levels are high or low, then the source of pathology must be the hypothalamus or the pituitary gland. But in case of hyperthyroidism that causes Graves' disease, the thyroid hormone level remains high but the TSH level remains low. And on the other hand, during hypothyroidism, though the thyroid hormone level remains low, but the TSH level increases. Thus, we can identify the different thyroid disorders with their source of pathology. Thyroid stimulating hormone is secreted throughout life, but particularly reaches high levels during the periods of rapid growth and development as well as in response to stress. So how TSH secretion is regulated? We all know well that the thyrotropin releasing hormone or TRH from hypothalamus stimulates the anterior pituitary gland to produce TSH. And another hormone, somatostatin, that is also produced by hypothalamus, has an opposite effect on the primary production of TSH, decreasing or inhibiting its release. The concentration of thyroid hormones like T3 and T4 in the blood regulates the pituitary release of TSH by negative feedback loop. When T3 and T4 concentrations are low, the production of TSH is increased, and conversely, when T3 and T4 concentration are high, the TSH production is decreased down. The second tropic hormone is the adrenocorticotropic hormone or ACTH. It is polypeptide in nature with 39 amino acids. The source of ACTH is the corticotropic cells of anterior pituitary. The functions of ACTH include the production and release of cortisol by the cortex of adrenal gland. It is used as a medication and diagnostic agent too, and it is also related to the circadian rhythm in many organisms. So, it is a very important hormone. And the secretion of ACTH is directly regulated by hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, and the corticotropin releasing hormone from hypothalamus stimulates the anterior pituitary to secrete more ACTH into the bloodstream. When the cortisol levels rise, they start to slow down the release of corticotropin releasing hormone from the hypothalamus, and hence ACTH production is also decreased down by the negative feedback loop. And during stress, both physical and psychological, the ACTH secretion is increased and hence increases cortisol levels. Now the third one, that is the follicle stimulating hormone. It is another glycoprotein with two subunits, alpha and beta. The source of FSH is the gonadotrophs of anterior pituitary, and the functions of FSH are, in both males and females, FSH stimulates the maturation of primordial germ cells. In males, FSH induces Sertoli cells to secrete androgen binding proteins or ABPs and promotes spermatogenesis. It is very much important function of FSH. And in females, FSH initiates follicular growth, specifically affecting granulosa cells, and it is an important regulator of the menstrual cycle. And how the FSH secretion is regulated? Yes, it is regulated by hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis. Gonadotropin releasing hormone or GnRH is secreted from the hypothalamus, which stimulate the synthesis and release of FSH. And in female, high levels of progesterone inhibits the release of FSH. And in male, the production of follicle stimulating hormones is regulated by the circulating levels of testosterone and inhibin. When these hormones levels rise, they are sensed by the nerve cells in the hypothalamus, so GnRH secretion and consequently FSH secretion is decreased by the negative feedback control. Now the last one is the luteinizing hormone or LH. It is a heterodimeric glycoprotein. It is also secreted from the gonadotrophs of anterior pituitary. In females, LH stimulates secretion of estrogen and progesterone. It promotes ovulation of oocyte, and in males, it stimulates the interstitial cells of Leydig to secrete testosterone. LH levels are normally low during childhood, and in women, it is high after menopause. Like FSH, it is also regulated by the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis. Gonadotropin releasing hormone or GnRH, that is released from hypothalamus, stimulates the synthesis and release of LH. And in men, testosterone exert the negative feedback effect, and in women, estrogen and progesterone exert the same effect except at the midpoint in the menstrual cycle. At this point, high estrogen secretion from the ovary stimulate a surge of LH, that is known as LH surge, from the pituitary gland, which triggers ovulation. This LH surge is very much important to trigger ovulation. Now moving to the melanocyte stimulating hormone. This hormone is secreted from the pars intermedia of pituitary gland. Hence, it is also known as intermedin. It is actually a group of peptide hormones including alpha MSH, beta MSH and gamma MSH. The ACTH, alpha, beta and gamma MSH, all these peptides are cleavage product of a large precursor peptide called pro-opiomelanocortin or POMC. So all of these peptides are formed due to the cleavage of this precursor molecule, that is pro-opiomelanocortin or POMC. Clear? MSH has various important functions. By acting through melanocortin 1 receptor, alpha MSH stimulates the production and release of melanin by the process melanogenesis. The melanin is produced from the melanocytes in skin and hair. This melanin protects cells from DNA damage, thus prevents skin cancer or melanoma. Acting in the hypothalamus, alpha MSH suppresses appetite. Alpha MSH secreted in the hypothalamus also contributes to sexual arousal. Melanocyte stimulating hormone also has anti-inflammatory effects. It can influence the release of the hormone aldosterone, which controls salt and water balance in the body. So, MSH secretion from the pituitary is increased by exposure to UV light. Unlike most hormones, MSH release is not thought to be controlled by a direct feedback mechanism. So, this point is very much important to remember. Now, what happens if someone has too much MSH? A direct consequence of high level of MSH is increased production of melanin. This can occur as a result of prolonged exposure to the sun or skin tanning, or even during pregnancy, and also in women using birth control pills. Increased MSH level can also cause hyperpigmentation of the skin. And what happens when someone have too little MSH? This can occur in secondary adrenal insufficiency or damage to the pituitary gland. A deficiency in MSH results in a lack of skin pigmentation and subsequent loss of natural protection from UV rays of the sun. MSH deficiency can cause increased inflammation, pain, and sleeping problems too. And lastly, MSH deficiency may also result in increased food intake and obesity. Lastly, before the class is over, let's have a look on some interesting fun facts. Today's fun facts are: in some animals, such as claw-toed frog, production of MSH is increased when the animal is in the dark location. This causes pigment to be dispersed in pigment cells in the toad skin, making it become darker and harder for predators to spot them. Their pigment cells are called as melanophores, and therefore in amphibians the hormone is often called as melanophore stimulating hormone and not as melanocyte stimulating hormone. Do not forget to like our Facebook page to get regular biofun facts. So I hope now you are ready to appear on the self-assessment test. Find the link in the description box. Best of luck. And last but not the least, if you find this video helpful, then please like and share and let me know your doubts through the comment section or through our mail ID. And if you have not subscribed yet, don't waste your time. Subscribe our channel Bioholic and get a full biology package absolutely free. Next class will be on the posterior pituitary hormones. So see you soon. Goodbye.